slideshow. View show. Okay. This should work. Okay. So I will. As I said, this point of potential vorticity mixing was discussed a lot at the beginning of this meeting, and but no, it was in fact new results were shown showing that the potential vorticity mixing was in particular important for the atmosphere of giant planet. But it was in fact so I will come back to this problem and reviewing some earlier work on statistical mechanics approach, and then I will move to a more recent work about applications to trying to extend these ideas to the mixing of density in a stratified fluids. So I will first review some work on the statistical mechanics of the two-dimensional Euler equation, and then discuss the limit of small Rossby radius of deformation, for which we can really discuss the potential vorticity mixing more, for which the statistical equilibrium provide a way to quantify the existence of potential vorticity, the region of uniform potential vorticity with strong barrier, so-called potential vorticity staircase that were discussed earlier in this meeting. And then, as I said, I will talk about more recent work on extension to density in a stratified fluid. Okay, so just so in order to properly discuss potential vorticity mixing, in fact, to justify this idea of mixing, I think the appropriate way is to define a mixing entropy, which is to define, in fact, to consider that you have the vorticity undergo very strong filamentation, very fine scale structures, and so you don't describe that in a deterministic way, but you consider a probability distribution of the different vorticity levels in a small region. And so mixing will be naturally the state of uniform value of this potential vorticity distribution, or in particular the uniform value of the mean vorticity, like the mean value of a dye concentration, for instance. So formally we can introduce entropies, sum of rho. Sum of rho log de rho, which is a classical expression for entropy. And if we maximize just this expression with a constraint of on normalization, the fact that the integral of rho is conserved, then you get rho everywhere uniform. You get a complete mixing. And but in fact, this is forbidden by the conservation of energy, because the kinetic energy, as you know, can be expressed in terms of long-range interaction, because each vortex can be considered as producing a stream function, and the energy can be explained by it's just sum of u squared, but by interaction by part, it's a sum of psi sigma, where sigma is the vorticity. So this is the same expression as for instance, the potential energy for charge, interaction of electrical charge, although it is physically a kinetic energy. So this is quite remarkable. This was idea was put forward by first by Onsager, considering a model with point vortices, and it has been later generalized to for continuous vorticity distributions. And so the result is slightly different, because with continuous vortice distribution, we have a local normalization of rho, while in the point vortex approximation, point vortex model, rho would be the density of vortices, and this is not constrained to is not constrained. In fact, the point vortices can have a varying density, while the fluid parcel, because of fluid incompressibility, must satisfy this normalization constraint, and this changed the structure of the equilibrium state. So so because of this energy constraint, you cannot have complete mixing. You have to maximize the entropy, but with this constraint. So this constraint, so that this leads to organize vortices. Basically, the vorticity mixed reached a state of maximum mixing compatible with the conservation of energy. And for example, if you have positive and negative vortices, if you have complete mixing, this will lead to zero energy. So you get some coherent vortices that are there to preserve the energy, basically. So this maximization process provides a relationship between the locally average vorticity and stream function, which is characterize a steady solution of the Euler equation. So although the microscopic structure are very complex, the locally average flow is steady. And this fits very well, which was is observed in many numerical computation, laboratory experiments, and so on. Okay, there are some various properties of this function f. In particular, must be monotonic, so it's not any kind of function that we can. But we have a variety of functions depending on the initial vorticity level that are present in the system. It's an important feature of the theory that the results depend on this not only on the initial energy, but the whole distribution of vorticity levels, the global PDF of the vorticity levels. But in practice, with two levels, for instance, we have sigma 1 and sigma 2, we have initially two patches with two values, or patches with a background of zero vorticity, for instance, then sigma 1 equals 0. Then the result is a hyperbolic tangent, and it's you see that it's always between the two extrema. So if you have sigma 1, sigma 2, the locally average vorticity is always a mixture of the two. You can never exceed the initial value sigma 2, the initial bounds. And this, okay. So this has been, okay. This prediction has been checked by a variety of numerical computations and laboratory experiments. I would say we clearly observe in many cases a trend toward this result, but there are also a variety of other effects that may modify the behavior. There are some other, there are kinetic barriers to mixing. That means that you may not completely reach this state. And also you have small viscosity effect, which occurs. And also the time for relaxation may be very long in some cases. But here I show, I think, a quite convincing example, which was published by these people, in particular Montgomery, who first proposed, developed the statistical model of Onsager, proposing this mean field theory, mean field approach, which produce a slightly different function, omega versus psi. But in this work, these people show that indeed the result depends on the initial distribution of vorticity levels. It's not a universal result. And this is done in a with periodic boundary conditions in the domain X and Y, with periodic boundary condition. And depending on the initial, in fact, they take patches of vorticity, and depending on the initial proportion area proportion of these patches, they get two kind of results, either a bar like that, so X-independent flow, zonal flow, either a dipole, which is very often obtained in such computations. The dipoles are always only observed for small area vortices initially. And here is a diagram of entropy versus energy for these two cases. And you see here the bar is indeed has higher entropy than the dipole here. So it's a reverse in this case. And their computation really check this prediction. They start with two initial conditions corresponding to the two areas of. You see that it looks very similar, but the area of the vortices is different here and here. It's larger in this case. In this case, indeed, they end up in a zonal flow, and here with a dipolar structure. And they, yes. Yes, it's purely it's just a 2D turbulence with a periodic boundary condition, the most standard simulation. And previously, people only obtained this case. And in fact, they also they make a plot here for all the of omega versus psi for all the points in the domain. And we check first that the points merge on a single curve, which is a characterization of a steady solution of the Euler equation. And also the shape is very much like is predicted by the theory. In particular, here we have the tangent hyperbolic structure here. Here it's not quite a tangent hyperbolic structure, but it's a better model will be tree-level, for which you could expect this two-step structure here. But in fact, the tangent hyperbolic curve would saturate here at a higher value here. And in fact, depending on energy, you don't necessarily reach the maximum of this curve. So you always have this similar curve with tangent ending as a saturation, with saturating at the maximum initial vorticity value, but you don't necessarily reach this maximum value depending on your energy. Okay, so now, okay, I must say in a comparison with what, for example, David presented with very high numerical, numerical simulations, that if you have some very small lumps produced, we may end up with a slightly different structure. So it's still an open question how precise, how fundamental is this prediction. In fact, it's a little like when you do cooking, when you have flour and you may have lumps, and then you don't get the good mixing. It may depend on the kind of the way mixing is done. But in good cases, you get the result of the statistical prediction. And in particular, the constraint on energy, energy conservation is clearly seen. And now when you want to extend to the catastrophic model, so formally it's quite similar. You just replace vorticity by the potential vorticity. And here I take a shallow layer with, so you have the potential vorticity equal the vorticity plus a term psi over r square, where r is the radius of deformation. And I am interested in the limit of small r, for which this term can be very large. In this case, you know that the range of interaction of vortices becomes smaller. It's of the order of r. So instead of a long range interaction that we have in the pure Euler case, you get a short range interaction. The range of interaction is about r. In that case, you reach the same kind of result as in usual thermodynamics. In particular, you can have phase coexistence. In fact, this is the result you showed here. These are the stream functions, for instance. You see, for example, here, a strong gradient, and uniform psi, and strong gradient corresponding to a narrow jet. So you get jets of the same width as the radius of deformation, and uniform psi between. So basically, potential vortices tend to get uniform in big patches with strong gradients corresponding to the equivalent of of a boundary of a droplet in a usual thermodynamic. And of course, and you can also have circular, depending on the asymmetry parameter. Here it corresponds to the initial area proportion of positive and negative vortices. You can get also circular vortices as an equilibrium. It's a zonal jet and the circular vortex.
So the symmetry of the box.
No, it's a symmetry of the initial area of the two, because we consider two values of potential vortices initially, plus and minus typically, cyclone and anticyclone, and you consider here you have an equal area of the two patches with equal area. Whereas here we have more cyclone and here more anticyclone. So basically the cyclone, if you have more cyclone, they tend to gather in a single big vortex.
But the total circulation is here, right?
Total circulation, yes, zero, yes.
It's this way.
Yes. But the strength is is not. The strength is not equal. You may have a stronger cyclone and
one is
but
more intense, but
more intense, but with smaller area. Yes. And in fact, this was yes. We think this is the case for Jupiter, which was our motivation for this study. Is that in Jupiter it seems that anticyclones are quite occupy a small area, and why it corresponds to the excitation by rising plumes. And then you can explain that the structure of the Greek surface of Jupiter as a kind of patch of uniform potential vorticity among another bigger zone of uniform potential vorticity again. I must mention that the elliptical shape that is observed must be due, in this approach, must be due to the existence of a deep shear, of a second layer. Otherwise, it will be circular. And this fits, in fact, with direct observation by Dowling in Ingersoll, which really, by tracking a fluid particle, they were able to show that by assuming conservation of potential vorticity, they were able to show that we must have a deep shear, in fact. So I think to follow a discussion earlier in this meeting, it's quite, from the observation, it's quite clear that we should have a deep flow. Maybe not that deep as the whole planetary interior, but at least this idea that we have necessarily a two-layer system at least is important. So the vortices must be in a more shallower layer than the mean flow. Otherwise, we cannot explain the structure, and also there's a direct evidence from observations.
Well,
yes?
With some interesting recent work from Phil Marcus's group by a very bright guy called Sushil Shetty. Do you know that work? And they had a different explanation, which is that the red spot is not a simple patch. It's actually got a ridge of PV on the outside, which looks unstable, but then they argue that it's stabilized by the surrounding jets.
Yes, but I think basically as I understand, it's basically the same idea, that there's a uniform patch of PV and strong gradient on the edge here.
No, but there's actually a maximum, there's a ridge.
A maximum of PV?
A collar, if you see what I mean.
Yes.
A maximum is like a crater, you know, it's got a high point around surrounding the
yes.
center.
But this fit very well with observation, so we don't need to have anything more complex than uniform PV and a strong gradient. just here the contribution, in fact this is very consistent with at least earlier idea of Phil Marcus. Maybe I didn't follow the very last development, but very consistent with the earlier model with a uniform PV inside and a strong gradient on the outside. Just we provide a more deeper explanation of in terms of mixing, because otherwise there's no reason to understand why we should have mixing in some region and then strong barrier. Or we may have, this is provide a very natural explanation of the existence of barrier, mixed region with barrier with a thickness of the same order as the Rossby radius of deformation.
You're saying you think Shetty must be wrong?
Shetty?
Shetty, the man who worked with Marcus on this latest novel.
Okay,
It should be regarded as an open question, perhaps.
Okay, I need to look at the very latest. I am not
Okay.
aware. In fact, yes. Okay.
Some minutes.
Okay. Some minutes. Okay. So yes, then of course we may also argue that the QG model does not apply when you have a large-scale comparison with the Rossby radius of deformation. But this can be extended, in fact, to shallow water models, as it was done in this paper. So I don't. Okay, no time to discuss detail, but just we find then that the Bernoulli function is a function of psi, and again Q, potential vortice, is a function of psi, and dB over deep psi, which is also what is expected for a steady solution of the shallow water equation. But there's a problem here. I think it's quite interesting. Maybe I would like to have some input from expert in balance state, so that in fact we find a kind of balance condition as a result of the statistical equilibrium. But in fact, it's not a true maximum entropy, in fact, because wave mode can pump energy. So it's a first. It cancels the first variation of entropy with the constraint, but it's not a true maximum. In fact, because we can, unlike the incompressible case, we can in principle pump out energy toward the waves, and you reduce the energy of the system, then you can increase the entropy. So because of this possibility of internal gravity wave emission, the system cannot have a negative temperature, which is what we need to get this coherent structure, and what we can have in the incompressible case, because here, the incompressible case, there is no way to radiate energy. So it's interesting. We need some. We can extend the theory, but we need some additional kinematic constraint that prevent the emission of internal wave, which is maybe not so easy. Not easy to justify in terms of statistical mechanics, at least. We need all the arguments probably. Okay, so okay, I wanted to discuss the application to density mixing. So the idea is very simple: is to apply the same method, not to vortice or potential vortice, but to density in a fluid, to be able to account for vertical mixing, to go beyond Lajoie's hydrostatic equation like shallow water or multi-layer. And okay, so basically here we apply the same idea, but now in fact we have local distribution of sigma, which is now the density or buoyancy, and we still have the mixing entropy, but now the energy is just the gravitational energy, sum of sigma z, and this leads by the similar technique to sigma is a periodic tangent of z. So basically the kind of equilibrium that is observed is quite natural. Is this red curve here. We start, for example, here with dense, high density, low density. We bring some energy, you get this equilibrium shape, which depend, the rate of mixing will depend on the energy that you bring. Okay, this is obtained by some relaxation procedure that drive the system toward the statistical equilibrium. But also it's important to notice that even if you start with a uniform density, you will get a sorting, because even if the density looks uniform, it's a result of fluctuation of density of different values, and the high density tends to go down, so it tends to segregate, to sediment. So even if you start from uniform density, you get similar kind of result, and even if you have unstable, if you put the high density above, it should end up with this equilibrium. In fact, we have a relaxation procedure that kind of mimic this process of resorting of the density. Well, I would say that it's different than what we would have for molecules. Molecule would produce an exponential equilibrium. State will be an exponential with exponential dependency of z. The density will be an exponential, because here we have the constraint of fluid incompressibility that provide this uniform density here on the bottom. Otherwise, it will be just exponential. you will not have this constraint. So yes, of course, still worse than in the case of 2D turbulence, we have other effects. In particular, we have cascade, we have straining effects, but we have a way to model this effect. In fact, I will not discuss that here, but if I can refer to paper published in Phys.Rev letters here. Okay, this paper. So, for which we provide a modeling of this straining effect that will modify the density, the density probability of different density level, the rho of sigma. And in fact, the idea is basically locally you have fluctuation, and because of straining effect, you will reduce this fluctuation by local mixing. And the idea is that starting from if in a small domain you have two values of sigma, after straining you will observe the average of these two values. And in terms of probability, it will produce self-convolution of the density. The new density will be a self-convolution of the previous density. So, and this gives, this has been tested by laboratory experiments, but you can look at the papers. At the end, the idea is to get this kind of model for density with this is a divergence of a flux. The variation of rho is a divergence of a flux. And there is a production here, which is the cascade process that I previously mentioned. And here we have a diffusion and sedimentation, which tend to relax the system toward this statistical equilibrium. And then you have to add also a model for the turbulent kinetic energy. I didn't have time to talk about this part, but this would be basically like a classical K-epsilon model. And the problem we have this equation, but we did not have any time to much explore the result of that. With respect to, we want to check that with some laboratory experiments, for example, with mixing produced by a grid and such kind of process. In fact, the originality here is that we deal with not only with variance of density, but we deal with the full PDF of the density. Here, the unknown of the equation is rho, which is the PDF, local PDF of density, which is not classically done in closure theories. Okay. Yes, I have a conclusion, but okay. So the conclusion is that mixing should be described as the increase of mixing entropy. That and in discussing that, we should consider the constraint of energy conservation that produce either vortices, coherent vortices, or jets in the case of QG turbulence. In the case of density, this would lead to restratification of density. I don't think models model designed to describe the vertical mixing, I don't think they are able to. I don't think existing model can produce this restratification. Okay.
If you want to have something instead of QG for small radius of deformation, you can just use SG, and then you still have the same structure. Then you don't have the wave explicitly. So if you're trying to find a balanced model for that case, you can just use that.
Yes, I was thinking about that, but in fact, with the shallow water, we can work with the shallow water, which is still more general. So technically, we don't need.
Yeah, it's just if you want to have something that's purely described by PV.
The only problem is then we can really technically we can get results. The question is more fundamentally that, as I said, it's not a true entropy maximum because of waves. But if we assume that we kill the wave by some process, then it works. Yeah.
Visual. These systems that you're talking about generally have more than one conservation principle. For example, you just look at the conservation of energy as a constraint on the maximization of the entropy. But these systems, for example, QG turbines has a Lotchansky type invariant and so forth. You don't attempt to conserve these additional invariants?
Yes, I said, in fact, we conserve basically all the moments of the vorticity, so in particular circulation and higher moments. The idea is that if you have viscosity effect, you will dump these small scale fluctuations, but still you keep track of their constraints in the process of entropy maximization.
These aren't Casimirs of the vorticity field. These are separate.
Yes, you have angular. Yes, I didn't.
Angular
Yes,
momentum,
yes.
linear
This has to be asked. Yes, in the case of particular symmetry, you have to add additional constraint like momentum, linear momentum, or angular momentum. Yes, we did that. I didn't want to make.
But even in a periodic square.
Yeah, yes. In a band, for instance, in the zonal domain, you should add this constraint, but it does not change very much. It gives you the possibility of having a propagating structure, for instance. You can have a mean flow. This constraint can provide a mean flow, for instance, and you can have not a steady structure, but a purely propagating structure, like a propagating wave. This can be entropy maximum in this case.
That's the last question by
Yes.
Jeff.
Oh, yes. In thinking, for example, your periodic box in two-dimensional flows, it seems to settle down into two vortices or perhaps three. Those are solutions that look like particular solutions of the equations of motion. Are they, if you put those into the primitive equation, would they be exact solutions that have no time dependence?
Yes, this is the point. As I said, by principle, the result of the theory is a steady solution of the equation. Yes.
So you're saying that this is the solution towards which, well, there's very little viscosity, the solution tends.
Yes.
The periodic box.
Very
But-
little viscosity is very dangerous.
What?
Yes.
Very little viscosity is very dangerous. In some sense,
He says it's dangerous.
very little viscosity.
There's a very, very last question.
Yes.
Back there.
What is the vertical scale that you observe in the stratified mixing? In the last results, you observe the scale.
But the vertical scale will depend on the energy, basically. If you bring much energy, you will get more dispersion. So to have a complete theory, you need to introduce some energy. You need the last part that I didn't explicit because we need to introduce some kinetic energy in the system.
And is it possible in your theory to get like many layers, like a staircase, or does it always have a one?
No, I think the true equilibrium is always a single staircase, but I am not quite sure about that. In fact, this would be something to check rigorously. Generally, the experience that we have is we always tend toward the larger structure, but it's really the true equilibrium, and we may have kind of pseudo-equilibrium which may involve more layers. It's like in thermodynamic, the true equilibrium is the very big droplets. For example, we have vapor and liquid. We have the true equilibrium is a very big droplet, but you may very often observe smaller droplets because it takes a very long time to reach the true equilibrium. So maybe similar things can happen with potential vortices. So, but yes, for Jupiter, I was hoping to get multi-jets. I don't think it's possible really as a true equilibrium. We have to assume some kind of locality of mixing. Cannot assume a global mixing, which is quite natural because it's difficult to mix everywhere. Potential vorticity. The process is more local.
We should stop here.
Okay.
So let's thank all the speakers.